Hi guys, this is gsno.com and I'm here with a review of the Motorola Edge 40, the follow-up to the successful Motorola Edge 30 and Motorola Edge 20, a mid-range handset with a dual back camera and also a very slim and easy to handle format. It has a clean and stock Android 13 experience, it's got a ready for productivity and a bright screen with a very high refresh rate. The price is around 500 euros and this can be a rival for the Nothing phone, Galaxy A54 and the freshly announced Google Pixel 7a. Now what we have here is the black version of the phone with fake leather at the back side. There are other versions like green, blue and Viva Magenta. It's a well-built phone, once again with fake leather on the back side, increasing the grip, an aluminum frame and curved glass at the front side. I also am going to start with the good news. The handset has IP68 certification. It's comfy to handle and use with a single hand. It's pretty good looking and the bezels are quite narrow. My only objections for the design is the fact that the buttons are too slim, too skinny for their own good. I'm talking about the volume and the power buttons, of course. Other than that, solid build, good grip and a nice set of looks. Now, as far as the screen is concerned, this here is a OLED panel, 6.55 inches in diagonal, Full HD Plus resolution, and a bit of an overkill refresh rate of 144 Hz, which is good for gamers. We also have HDR10 support, and the screen itself is very vibrant, bright and crisp, immersive, and has wide viewing angles. Also excellent contrast when used in the sunlight. So no objections here, and wait till you see the result we achieved using our lux meter. So we achieved a pretty impressive 900 plus lux, 953 actually, the second placed handset from all of our tests, so very bright, second only to the Honor Magic 5 Pro, and beating the likes of Galaxy S23 Ultra, but also many other handsets mid-range and flagships. Quite impressive, to be honest. Now we go further and we find that the CPU used here is a pretty fresh one, MediaTek Dimensity 8020. It's a 6nm chip with an octa-core setup, which is accompanied by 8 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage. There's also a version with 128. We don't have a microSD card slot. Luckily, we also don't have lag. And when it comes to the benchmarks, I'm going to resort to our sister site again. You can go here and see that Antutu 9 wielded 689k points, just above the Xiaomi 12X and Poco F4, and we're also beating the Nothing Phone 1 and the Galaxy A54. We're still below the likes of the Realme GT Neo 2. In Geekbench 5, here we are above the Honor 70 and the Realme 9 Pro Plus. In the single core test, while in the multi-core we beat the Xiaomi 12X and OnePlus 8T. The Geekbench 6 is more relevant, it's newer, but we don't have as many phones to compare it with. It's above the Galaxy A54 and Oppo Find N2 Flip, which is a bit of a flagship. And it's below, well, flagships. Huawei Mate X3, Honor Magic 5 Pro. I would say it's not doing bad as far as the mid-rangers are concerned. Now, when it comes to the 3D Mark Slingshot Extreme Unlimited, we're between the iPhone 13 Pro and the Huawei Mate X3. And if you want the Wildlife Extreme, we're just above the Poco F4 and Realme GT Neo 2. Now in this test here, I should probably also mention the fact that we're below the OnePlus Nord 2T and also below the Poco X4 GT. We did a throttling test as well, this CPU throttling test, and the drop in performance was only 17% after 15 minutes. Temperature wise, we have you covered as well, and here we scored 39.4 degrees Celsius in benchmarks, while in games we achieved 31.9, so there's no problem with overheating. The predecessors had pretty small batteries, which had people worried, but they delivered decently. This one has a 4400 mAh unit with 68 watt wired charging, 15 watts wireless charging, and also the 68 watt charger is in the box. As far as the battery results are concerned, here we are with 19 hours and 32 minutes of video playback, a satisfying result superior to the Vivo V23, Xiaomi 12 Lite, but inferior to the Galaxy A54 and Nothing Phone 1. Sadly, continuous usage isn't impressive with a mere 9 hours and 4 minutes. It's modest, it beats only the likes of Galaxy S21 FE and Nokia 6.1. It's below the Nothing Phone 1 and below the Galaxy A54 by 3+ hours. At least it charges fast. A full charge requires 45 minutes, and after 30 minutes you're 85%, after 15 you're 55%. We're moving on to the acoustics, and we're treated here with a set of stereo speakers. The bottom one and the top one is the slit for the earpiece. We don't have an audio jack, but we do have quite a few Dolby options to tweak. So you'd best find them in the Moto app in a dedicated segment here. So you go to the play area, you go to the Dolby Atmos, and here we are with your tweaks. Those are the core ones. You can also do further ones here for manual, brilliant treble, bass boost, and so much more. Now I'll leave the rest to the decibel meter test, which shows us that we scored only 77.1 decibels at the top and 86.4 decibels at the bottom with a typical acoustic test. The difference between the two speakers is quite large, almost 10 decibels, so yeah, bottom speaker doing the hard work. With this result, we scored above the Poco F4 and Galaxy A54, but we scored below the Nokia X30 5G and the Huawei Nova 9 SE. Sadly, the gaming test, the multimedia test, is disappointing, only 84.9 decibels here, close to the bottom, but above the Realme C55. Now that we're done with the acoustics, we move further to the cameras. We start with the selfie one, cut in the screen, a 32 megapixel shooter which shoots 4K videos, and also the back side only hosts two cameras, which should be good enough because the ultra-wide one, which is a 30 megapixel one, has autofocus good enough for your macro needs. The main one is a 50 megapixel shooter with an impressive f1.4 aperture, optical image stabilization, and PDAF. Dual LED flash is available, plus 4K capture in 30 frames per second, and I think it's time to see the photos we've taken using this handset here. We have quite a few of them, so let's analyze those taken during the day. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the selfies. I mean, I'm happy with what we achieved here, at least face-wise. However, when it comes to the background, I'm not very happy. There is a lot of overexposure and the light is exaggerated here. The texture of the hair is fine, and you can also see the wrinkles and various other things. So yeah, the selfies are okay, but somehow I was expecting a bit more after seeing what the likes of Huawei and Honor phones can achieve in the mid-range segment. If it weren't for the background, I would actually be very happy with what we achieved here, particularly the eyes and the hair texture. Moving further from the selfies now, I have to say that the close-ups are very fine here, either close-ups or macros. All of them are successful. It may take a few attempts to get them, but I'm truly happy with what we achieved. Look at the details here, pretty impressive. Not very happy with the color green, which is present here. It's too vibrant, it's too intense for my liking, and sometimes it's borderline oversaturated and with a slight overexposure here and there. You do notice a pretty decently calibrated blue, sky blue. Now we also have an attempt at zoom here, and it's only decent at up to 2-3x. Aside from that, it's not very satisfying. Several more captures here, and just so you know, there's not a huge difference in the colors of the ultra-wide camera versus the main camera, so when you swap between them, you should get similar color calibration. By the way, it's the ultra-wide camera which is achieving these macros, just so you know, courtesy of its autofocus. Now every once in a while you'll get some very beautiful flower shots, but if you try to zoom in and crop, you see that the details aren't as impressive as the ones captured with the sensor of a Nothing Phone 1, for example. I mean, the photos are fine and all, but you should remember that there may be some overexposure and oversaturation, especially for the greens, and the details in the distance aren't as impressive as some of the rivals, Galaxy A54 included. Some extra photos here showing that the zoom is not much over 3x. That's it for the photos taken during the day. Let's talk about those taken during the night. Two pieces of advice from me: skip the ultra wide camera and stick to the night mode activated. So yeah, this is a regular shot, this is an ultra wide shot which is darker, noisier, and exacerbates the light. Once again, this is a regular shot, and this is the night mode shot, which definitely helps a lot with the setup of the lighting. So every once in a while you'll see a logo on a building which feels not that good. For example, this one is too lit, but if you activate the night mode, things get better calibrated. So yeah, that f1.4 aperture may be a bit too much, but in the end things will be solved courtesy of the night mode. So this is another example. I feel that the street lights here are too big, but you use the option and the contours of the trees get clearer, and so do the lights. It's still a mid-range experience, and I've seen better phones, I'll be honest. Even better phones for Motorola. I feel that there is at least one or two which can take better night shots. Okay, so we're done with that. I think it's time to discuss the videos. I'm going to rely on this player here. So we have 19 videos, we're keeping it pretty generous. I'm going to start with the selfie one, which honestly is more impressive than the selfie pics. So yes, you can do some vlogging with it for sure, you can do TikToks for sure. I even love the background, I love the face texture, and even the stabilization. So yeah, it gets my vote. Speaking of stabilization, not bad what I'm seeing here. We're actually descending a slope, and things aren't half bad. The image is pretty well stabilized. If you want a focus test, let's see one here. Okay, so it involves a bunch of leaves and alternating between planes, background and foreground. I would say the test is passed again with flying colors. Let's maybe find something more colorful or more beautiful scenery. We have a green one, I know that much. Okay, so it's probably this one here. Once again, the green is a bit too intense for my liking. There's some overexposure, just like I said for the photos. And if you look at the distance, the details will pretty much fade away. Definitely happening when it comes to Full HD. In 4K, things are a bit better, I'll be the first to admit it. Honestly, the conclusion for the videos would be that I don't feel a huge upgrade from the predecessor, Motorola Edge 30, and the whole Edge series from the past 2 years. It's not a huge jump, so there you have it. I mean, the selfies are probably the biggest upgrade here, and possibly also the stabilization is welcome. Definitely better than the Motorola Edge 30 Neo. I remember not being impressed by the stabilization there. When it comes to the nighttime capture, we have a few videos, and I think I'm going to select this one. Well, it shows the limitations of a mid-range phone. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It captures a lot of light, I'll give it that much. The stabilization fades away a bit, and there's quite a bit of noise and some murkiness, even though light capture is a constant here throughout the shots. So yeah, limited mid-range, but also not exactly, not exactly bad. So nothing to write home about, not memorable, just doing its job. That's the description of the nighttime video. Okay, so we're done with the camera section. I think it's time to address connectivity. Yes, we do have a 5G phone here, but I'm actually more surprised that it supports, Wi-Fi 6E for some reason. Bluetooth 5.2, NFC, USB-C 2.0 at the bottom, GPS, and the calls are pretty okay. I mean, they're loud and clear. When it comes to the speed test, I just got around to doing the Wi-Fi one. I'll promise you I'll also take the other one, the 5G one. So here we are. In Wi-Fi I expected more, to be honest, for downloads particularly. We achieved 536 maximum download and 828 upload. I'm happy with the upload, expected more for the download. Now, software-wise, we're dealing here with Android 13 with a classical Moto approach. It means that it's 80% stock, and the only tweaks are the Moto app and of course the Ready For app. Okay, so let's go back here. The Moto app has been changed at the end of last year, and we have a customization area here, very well organized. You can tweak the themes, fonts, colors, icon shapes, display size, layout, fingerprint animation, and more. These are the gestures, which are used to access features of the phone. And we even have a sidebar, believe it or not. This one here, you swipe from it, and these are some of the apps you'll be getting. I've never been a fan of sidebars, but you should know that it's here. Quick capture, flashlight, and more. We have the Moto Secure, which I actually appreciate. We have the secure folder, network protection, lock screen security, and even the pin pad scramble, which scrambles your fingers so people won't look over your shoulder and see your pin. Display options, classical ones, including edge lighting, and of course, customization for your gaming needs, which includes a bunch of features like Moto Game Time, sidebar, blocking accidental touches, and capture for, screen capture. There's also the acoustic segment, which I already shown you, and then there's the productivity segment, courtesy of, Ready For. We have it here. There are two iterations of Ready For: connect to a PC or tablet and provide it with your connection. Share your 4G or 5G connection, use the phone as a webcam, do a hotspot, share files, instant sharing, and more. Then there's the classical one, connect to a TV or display with Miracast, do mirroring, do a desktop mode, do a video playback, or do a video call. So that's pretty much it as far as the productivity is concerned. Aside from that, it's the typical Android experience with those beautiful looking widgets, which you can see here, with a pretty fluid experience with lots of privacy settings and with a drop down area which includes the notifications and quick settings. Everything is pretty fluid, close to stock, and you should get about 2 or 3 years of Android updates. I'm thinking that close to 3 from what I've heard, and this is a very minimalistic settings area, just so you know. Also, there aren't many pre-installed apps like bloatware. I see that we have a Dolby Atmos app, we have a Family Space, we have a Moto app, Moto Secure, and Motorola, this one is probably a messaging board of sorts. Okay, and they're ready for. So, aside from that, it's all stock Google stuff. And security is taken care of thanks to this fingerprint scanner, which is decently snappy and accurate. That's it as far as the software is concerned. Now, it's time for the verdict for this compact and easy to wield handset. We start with the pros as per usual, and just so you know, we have our own website. So on the pro side, we have a bright screen here, an OLED, which is very well calibrated, very bright. It's a comfy phone which is well built. So bright screen, comfy phone, well built, pretty solid CPU, it's fast and doesn't have throttling or overheating, satisfying video playback time, I mean battery wise, fast charging, wireless charging, pretty okay selfies and especially selfie videos, IP68 certification, solid night mode and stabilization, 144Hz for the gamers, and also a pretty nice UI and ready for your productivity needs. Plus all those Moto extras. Those have been the pros. On the cons, I expected a bit more from continuous usage and PC mark. Not a big fan of the speakers here, I also wanted more volume. The selfie background is overexposed, the colors of the vegetation are a bit overblown if you ask me. The ultrawide camera is lacking at night, and the overall camera doesn't feel like a huge upgrade from the predecessor. USB-C is only 2.0, there's no micro SD, and the buttons on the side are a bit small for my taste. However, in the end, there are a lot of positive things to say about the phone. I mean, the fact that you can watch content and create solid selfie videos tells me that this is a TikTok phone, because you can consume content in an excellent fashion on the screen and create content in an excellent fashion with the camera. I mean video content. It also works as a gaming phone on account of the refresh rate and the processor, but too bad for the battery life. People will definitely love the user interface. It's all stock Android with some minor customization which will not bother anyone. And of course, you can also enjoy the handset once it drops to around, well, $400 or $450. That should be the sweet spot to try and get it. It's a decent rival for the Pixel 7a, Nothing Phone 1, Galaxy A54, Honor 70. However, honestly, Nothing Phone 1 and Honor 70 have better overall cameras and more features. That's what Motorola is lacking now, a killer feature for the camera. I'm talking about those extras which we find here. None of them is a selling point. Some rivals have a selling point in the camera special features. That's it from us. Remember it as a TikTok phone and maybe a bit of a gaming phone. This is it from gsn.com. This has been the review of the Motorola Edge 40. Goodbye.